I'm in my greenhouse right now getting ready to sow a bunch of vegetable seeds that are highly specific in lowering your blood pressure. So come with me as I show you these top 8 different veggies that you can grow in the cold that helps with lowering blood pressure. Let's go. What's going on, my plant peoples? I am the ADHD gardener, where I use gardening, houseplants, and humor as a much needed form of mental health therapy, sobriety, and also learning how to navigate this crazy ass world with ADHD, but also apparently healthy living, because I need to worry about my hubby and his high blood pressure. And if you haven't seen that video from last week, his butt was in the hospital with heart issues as a result of high cholesterol and high blood pressure. And you already know I am not having in that, and he is certainly not with it either. He's super on board with changing his lifestyle and his diet, and that means a lot of certain type of veggies. Now, if this is going to be a little on the medical side, so just hear me out. If you want to skip all the medical part, the list of veggies is down in the description. All right, so we're going medical all up in here in regards to the different type of vegetables that we're growing. The top 2 are definitely going to be toward the end of the video, but those have the most scientific studies and have been proven in research to be very, very effective. But we'll get to that later. See, sodium, which is salt, is absolutely necessary for our daily living. It's an electrolyte, which means it is a main source of minerals that is absolutely needed for proper body function inside of our bodies. The problem is with sodium is that if you have too much sodium in your system, that will increase the blood pressure, because wherever salt goes, water goes. So if you have too much salt in your system already, water is going to follow. It's going to increase the pressure in your arteries. There is a sodium-potassium balance that goes on in your body. So when you have high sodium, you have a lower chance of having some potassium. So when you have higher potassium levels, the sodium cannot stay there and it has to go away. So you will be peeing it all out. And that's what will happen when you have a lot of high potassium leafy greens and foods. You'll be peeing out a lot of that sodium, and that's what I'm looking for. Remember, please consult your doctor, because this is no joke and no game to be playing with if you have medical issues. Please consult your doctor regarding potassium levels, because this is no joke and will affect your heart if your potassium balance is out of whack. So please remember that. Can't say that I'm a big fan of broccoli. However, I do like some cabbage, and they both just happen to be high in potassium, which is exactly what I needed. And the bonus is that they can grow in colder climates. Me right now is getting super cold, but they can still tolerate. But if you're living down south, you still have an opportunity to be growing a lot of these brassicas. It's like a 2-for-1 deal. You get the cabbage and the broccoli, but you also get the leaves of the plant too. So that is high in all those nutrients. I didn't get a cabbage yet, but I do have some Brussels sprouts outside, which is also part of being high in potassium because of the brassica family. The next one is kale. I know, kale. Kale is not exactly the best tasting one. However, if you do, harvest kale in its tender stage, when it's small, then it's great for salads. I mean, really, we're just gonna have to get over some of these tastes of some of these veggies. I'm dead ass serious. Like, you really just have to start growing a desire to not only change your health, but also develop a palate, develop that taste for these veggies. And kale is one of those. So that means I gotta grow more kale. It's not like I don't like it, but when it's in its adult stage, or, when it's more matured out, then it gets a lot more, rough or tough. Then that's the part that I'm not a fan of. But there's different ways of cooking kale, so you can be able to eat it. Oh goodness, carrots. I can't believe I almost forgot carrots. Ooh, I could not do that. Carrots are awesome to be growing. They actually can grow year round. Why? Because not only, of course, they're gonna be growing in the summertime, but they tolerate the cold. And they develop a more sweet, sugary taste when it comes to the frost. So if they get touched by the frost, they get sweeter over time. So that's actually a great bonus, but also great on the potassium. But carrots are usually known for beta carotene, which gives it the orange color. But the potassium is where it's at when it comes to carrots. It's crazy how much that man is eating carrots and celery. Oh my God, speaking of which, celery. I completely forgot about celery. I need to be growing more celery. Wow, guess what I'm growing? Celery. Apparently, I am not a fan of celery unless I put it in my stocks and my soups and my stews. But I cannot eat and munch on a celery. But Jose loves celery. So I guess what? I guess I'm going to have to learn how to grow some celery. But collard greens. Collard greens are a great source of potassium. Now, I'm not a big fan of collard greens. However, remember, in its tender stage, when they're tiny, they're great to throw in salads. I want to incorporate some collard greens. Now, I'm not a fan of collard greens in their mature state because I'm just not a fan. Sorry. My family says otherwise because they love collard greens. and Jose likes collard greens. So that means I'm gonna have to, grow them. But I'm gonna be harvesting them in their tender stage so that I can just throw them in and mix them in a salad. And of course, the collard greens are cold-hearted. Do you see a theme going here? I love this theme. Now, of course, there's more, there's more veggies aside from the list that I'm giving you for when it comes to lowering blood pressure. But for now, what we can grow in the wintertime or in the cold environment, this is the list for it. And you know what? It's a long list. Speaking of which, all these vegetables that are on the list are high in nitrites. Now, nitrites gets converted to nitric oxide in our bodies, and that is used to help dilate our blood vessels, which is an interesting fun fact about that. So that is where a lot of these leafy greens are going to be helping as well. Do you see how the potassium, but also the nitrites and all the other nutrients and minerals inside of these plants and veggies are going to be so helpful for our blood pressure? But not only that, we're going to be aiming to lower our cholesterol. So if you're eating all these salads and greens, this is a great way of lowering your cholesterol as well. It's like a 2-for-1 deal, which is why I'm always encouraging growing your greens. It's super helpful. I already lost count. I think I'm on like number 5. But before we get to the, continuing the list, you're down south people. I didn't forget about you guys. These are just runner-ups for those that live down south that have access to warmer weather and have their own avocado trees. Avocados are a great source of potassium. They will lower your blood pressure, but also that they're great in the good fats, the healthy fats. So avocados are a great option, but also you guys have trees, banana trees down there. Bananas are a extremely high source of potassium. Okay, so if you got a banana tree, that's fantastic because you get to just get some bananas. I mean, you can go to the supermarket, but we're talking about growing our own food here. So y'all down south people, you can grow your banana trees. You know what I mean? Okay, I forgot what number I'm on, but these are the top 3 from under them. I think we're on like number 5 or 6 or something, but whatever. This veggie right here, it's got a lot of potassium, and that is potatoes. Now, potatoes you cannot grow right now indoors inside of a greenhouse because it is way too cold. Down south people, you got time for potatoes, but also I've grown potatoes indoors. Now, of course, it's not going to be enough potatoes to feed us. I already know that, but it's the fun of just growing the potatoes. But it's still an option because you can still grow them just in a container. I mean, if you had a heated greenhouse, I'm sure you'd be able to pull it off. But let me tell you, if I was to go in my, in my backyard right now, I'm sure I left a few potatoes inside of the ground. If your ground is frozen, then good luck. You ain't going to get it. However, if your ground is still workable, you probably still could be having or harvesting some potatoes. But potatoes are great because I remember with people that were on dialysis, I used to tell them, stay away from potatoes. Stay away because they're so high in potassium, it would just screw up their levels. But if you don't have that problem, potatoes are a great source of potassium. Not only that, a bunch of other nutrients. You got to be careful with the carb load because it is high in carbohydrates as well. But it's still a great source of potassium. But that also floats with sweet potato. Sweet potatoes are a great source of potassium as well. My God, you see a theme here? There are so many nutrients in vegetables, it's unbelievable. So sweet potatoes as well goes along with potatoes. That's going to take a little longer to grow, and especially not in this environment. But again, indoors or y'all down south people, potatoes is where it's at. I got my visitor here. Chippy no longer has his cone of shame on because he is getting a lot better. I took him to the vet and he is allergic to fleas. Go figure that. This is supposed to be number 7, but I lost count as to what number we're on because I've given you so many veggies. But this one is spinach. Spinach is so high in potassium. Not only nutrients, I mean, it's got vitamin A, vitamin C. I mean, the list can go on, but boy, potassium is where it's at. I love spinach. Me personally, it's got to be one of my favorite leafy greens. I love spinach, but that means he loves spinach as well. Well, not Chip, but Jose loves spinach as well. That means I gotta grow a lot of it. And you know how many leafy greens I'm gonna need to grow for spinach? That's okay. That is all right because I also am growing spinach indoors in my hydroponic system as well as outside. But boy, spinach is great. And of course, cold hardy. It can withstand a lot. If you got a little greenhouse or a little shelter thing going on here, a little cold frame, then you're good to go. Okay, and the number 1 top veggie that I must grow because there has been significant amount of medical studies that have been out on beetroot juice. I'm assuming beets. Beets is where it's at. Now, in all the medical studies, it kept saying beetroot, but I'm assuming it's just beets. All right. And fun fact, Jose hates beets. Jose hates beets. He can't even stand the smell or the look of a beet. And when I told him that beets, he's going to have to start eating and embracing beets because it has been shown to lower your blood pressure significantly. When I say significantly, I mean, I'm showing you here the tons of studies that have been found on beetroot juice and blood pressure. That's wild. There's even another YouTube video about, from 2 doctors that really claim positive good sides on beets. It's fantastic. Oh my gosh. Oh my God, beets. I know he's not gonna like it. All these foods have to be eaten over a course of time. You can't just eat one salad and expect your blood pressure to go down. We're talking 1 to 3 months consecutively. That's where we're gonna start seeing the effects of what we're doing. On top of, in addition to exercise. Just walk. Just walk. Let me tell you, just walk. Walk your dog. Walk your dog. I'm saying, you know what I mean? Just walk. Just walk. I really hope you learned something in this video, and I really hope that you are not waiting until you have a hospital visit in there to figure out that you got high blood pressure or you got high cholesterol. That is definitely not a good look at all, and you want to be around for a long time. So that means grow your greens. Grow a lot of them. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to smash that like button. I really appreciate it. It lets the YouTube algorithm know that you guys like my videos. Also, you can catch me on Facebook, Instagram, and on TikTok. But TikTok is all about mental health. So that's all about it. And until the next episode, you guys, where you and me both are going to be growing our happiness one plant at a time, one day at a time. God bless you all. Until the next episode, you guys, peace and love.